Hey, welcome everybody to another session of James and Jay Dissects the Walking Dead. We're back from our little holiday slash moving slash vacation slash life happens break, and we're glad to be back. I tell you what, glad to be back dissecting the Walking Dead for that matter. Before we jump on in, a few announcements per the usual. All proceeds from these videos goes towards our charity, and our current charity is the Humane Society. If you guys can donate, there are links down below on our Twitch and YouTube channels. If you guys can't donate, we understand that. What you guys can do to help us out is just to like, subscribe, and follow us on all the social medias, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, especially on YouTube. Watch those videos you guys can. And we can't tell you guys to click on the ads directly, but what I can tell you is all the revenue from those ads goes towards charity. But we can't collect revenue from those ads until we actually hit a certain amount of viewers and a certain amount of time watched and a certain amount of subscribers. So, do with that information as you will. Other than that, I'm glad to be back. James, what's going on, man? It's been a little bit.
Nothing much, man. Tons of stuff happening in the real world, and then, a couple of people are asking us where we've been. So, we're back. We take a little break. We got stuff going on, holidays. Jay's going all over the world. He's on the different continents, and he's visiting stars and whatnot. And I'm dealing with the snow. So,
Yeah.
just life in general, man. We're back. Sometimes take a couple of breaks. We try to get you as much content as we want. In between, during the breaks. So when we come on during the breaks, it's to give you extra content, and we have the time. We definitely love to bring you, different shows when we're able to, and we can't. We get right back on track when the second half or the second part of the season starts, or the new season starts. So, this is our main time. This is our full time. Anything else is extra. We try to. Just an explanation. We just try to give you as much content as we can, with the time allotted to us. But as Jay always said, we have our own lives. We move. We have kids, vacations. So, to fit all that stuff in between that is it could be taxing. But we're back, and we got plenty of news and reviews for you.
Yeah, and thanks everybody for asking about us too. That's awesome.
That is
definitely worth doing this for sure.
Yes, I love it, and even if people just watch, subscribe, like the videos if you can. We can't tell you to do it, but if you choose to, that would be great. If not, just watching and then reviewing and telling us where we mess up or telling us what you like or suggestions is incredible. So we're open to a lot. But your viewership is what matters to us. So, thanks again.
All right, so you ready to jump into the second half of season 8 or what?
I am, man. Sure am.
So, episode 9. It's a Carl episode. Similar to like the I guess the first episode of what season was that? Season 6 with the Tyrese episode.
Yes, that was season 5. Season 5. Yep, season 5. So this is the second consecutive, not the second consecutive, but this is the second time that you had, a death. This one was actually one extended death. Yeah. Season 5, it was Beth who died in a terrible episode, and then it was followed up by one of the greatest episodes ever where Tyrese died. Mm-hmm. So you usually don't see that where they have, in season 1 you had Amy and Jim both die back-to-back episodes, but I mean, these are substantial deaths here that happen right after each other, and this Carl death was a two-parter. So a lot of mixed reviews on it. A lot of people shed a lot of tears. A lot of people were glad that he was gone, which I'm surprised at. A lot of people were indifferent, and a lot of people were upset because of the way he left the show and the death he was given. And I am one of those people who were upset, and I don't think that they did him justice in the type of death he received. I think that you can't give Carl Grimes the same death that you gave Jim, the same death that you gave Gloria in Fear the Walking Dead, the same death that you give a lot of these, secondary type characters, bit on the same exact side, as other characters and other, in other episodes or other deaths. I mean, Carl Grimes is such an essential part of the comic that I think you have to owe him some sort of either heroic death or a gruesome death. You just can't. I think that was a really big cop out, to have him die by a zombie bite the way he did. Gimple did say that there was a point to that, just to prove that it's not the Savior's, it's not Rick's fault, it's not the Savior's fault, it's the world's fault and how he died. And I can understand that in a sense, but again, I think that people have to look at it and say you can save that type of bite or that type of death for a lower tier character, not somebody like Carl Grimes. That's just my opinion on it. Sad to see him go, but a little bit more. Hey man, you guys are kind of, that's a jump the shark moment there, and if you're gonna jump the shark, jump the damn shark. Don't just, I don't know what the hell they did with that. So
and the beginning of the season, I said that they needed to play this close to the chest as far as comic books goes in order to kind of get the viewers back. And this is a complete opposite.
Yeah.
And the numbers kind of back that up. I mean, this is a horrible
I know.
premiere. Lowest, I think, ever, right? Or second lowest?
Yes, the second lowest. I mean, since the first couple of seasons, 8.28 million viewers, and that was only up, just about, it was about 400,000 viewers more than the mid-season finale, which you usually, and with all the anticipation of it's going to be Carl's last episode, you would expect that number to be closer to 10, 11 million, knowing that people want to tune in to see the final episode of Chandler Riggs. Mm-hmm. And 400,000 more, viewers for a premiere, that's a second part of a death of a major character. Jay is absolutely right. That says a lot of where the show is going, and it's kind of scary, and it's getting scarier because they didn't take the moment to bring back the viewers. They push more viewers away, and it's like, what are you?
Yeah, I don't know. And the craziest thing is the numbers are continuing to go down, and they give Gimple a promotion. And it's like, why? And like we love to play this like what ifs. What if Shane survived? What if this? What if that? Let's play those games, but don't make that the actual series. Where what if Carl dies?
Yeah.
Let us fantasize about that. Keep us guessing. Like they used to do, where it's like, okay, they changed the method around a little bit. The timing of things, but still like the main plot lines were always hit. And now, we lost. A kid, back with Sophia, who lasted, still alive in the comics.
Yep.
But that's, she's a secondary character. If at best you lose Carl Grimes, and he's, the star.
Yeah.
Next to Rick Grimes, and that can go kind of back and forth as far as who's trying to teach who to be the best leader. And man,
they're literally the only two characters. If you look at it from. They're two characters in the sense that you saw Carl's picture in episode 1, and you also saw Carl Grimes with Lori Grimes. They're the only two characters from the beginning of the show that have been on. They have the most episodes in the show. Lenny James was in episode 1, season 1, but he took such a hiatus at times. He didn't appear until season 3, so he was kind of like a guest star at some points, and now he's a recurring character. Carl Grimes was a main character from the first episode, and like I said, okay, you want to kill him off and you want to make the show different, fine. Have him get killed in a more heroic way. Don't let him die by if he got bit, okay, I can understand that. But why don't you have him take out a few saviors? Why don't you have him do something heroic? Maybe, maybe he goes out and he really saves his team, Alexandrians. I mean, it just felt like it was just so blah.
I think at least Jim was fighting off the walkers from the campsite.
Exactly.
He went out a hero. He said thank you, not You got bit against 3 walkers. Like,
Yeah.
it's a normal day. Like you said, like, okay, I get what Gimple's trying to do here, but you don't use Carl Grimes to push that message. You know, it's like, really?
Right. That's completely.
Jeez.
I mean, it was so forced. I can almost see if, maybe like Negan said, and they kind of teased it at the end of episode 810, where Negan said, "Was it my fault with the grenades?
Yeah.
Was it was it because of the fires?" They kind of teased that maybe Negan was responsible. Why not have it where Negan was responsible? Maybe the grenades knocked Carl back, and he hit like a jagged piece of wood or something like that, and he bled out, and maybe come back reanimated as a walker, and Rick Grimes had to put him down, or maybe he like saved everybody, and then when Rick found him, almost like a Daryl Merle moment, and he had to put him down that way. Maybe he bites one of the saviors. I mean, it was so like blah. Like, why would you have this super character just get bit on the fucking side, and plant a tree, like what, and then put everybody in the sewers, which we didn't even get to see. We got to see a little bit of it, but it was just like, man. And even when you watch The Talking Dead, he seems so disconnected, and it was just like, when Beth was on The Talking Dead, she was emotional, and other characters were emotional, and they just got a big pop about it. But it was just like, I don't know, man. It didn't feel right, and
Yeah.
and the episode itself was good, but they drew out his death too long. It was almost like, let the kid die.
Yeah, right.
What the hell?
No. Like, there was some good like cinematography. I like the burnt down church scene.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like, okay, so the entire episode is in the sewer, and
Yeah.
it's a church, and yeah,
45
imagine,
somebody.
yeah, imagine if like he did die from the explosions, and like through the smoke, like Rick's trying to find him, and he sees Carl kind of walking towards him, but end up being like a walker.
Perfect.
Yeah,
There you go.
it's just like, what what happened? Was it the explosion that killed him, or was he bit before?
Yeah.
Like imagine like seeing like the cowboy hat like through the smoke, and then him getting like all excited, like, Carl, we can make it, and then all of a sudden it's
a walker.
Carl. Yeah.
And that would have been a perfect cliffhanger as well. Maybe Rick Grimes is looking for Carl. Maybe, we don't know that Carl was bit at the time. Maybe he's standing on top talking to Negan, and maybe, he hits himself like when the one house explodes. Maybe a sharpnel hits him, or he's bleeding out, and he sees he's bleeding out.
Mm-hmm.
He takes out a couple of the saviors, and you know how the savior said, "Hey, kid," and he ran away in the smoke. Maybe you get to the point where it's like, okay, Rick yells out to him, "Hey, Carl," and then he turns, and then that's it, and then it comes back, and Rick goes up to him, and then it just, maybe you give the little flashback moments, or you get the Carol. I really like the Carol and Morgan with Ezekiel. I really like that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That was
talk about
awesome.
that. That was fun.
That was
I
awesome.
love the stalking by Morgan. That was awesome. I don't know if they had like 2 different people shoot the different scenes or something, but that was like horror movie status where
Yeah.
you started to feel
Michael
sorry
Myers.
for Gavin.
Yeah, just stalking him.
Yep.
And it showed you a different side of Morgan. It shows you that he's slipping again, and it's a perfect setup for his exit on the show, and it's kind of confirming that he's not going to die, which I'm happy about. But it's starting to make more sense of where they're coming, and what they're trying to do with him on Fear the Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm.
But like, that was the best part of the show to me, and him fighting the saviors, and him being ruthless, and Carol being ruthless, and Ezekiel telling he's basically warning Gavin and saying, "Hey, look, man, it's all falling down for you. It's slowly falling down." And you kind of got that Gareth moment where they were in again. Gareth and his group were in the church, and Rick Grimes and the crew surrounded them, and it was almost like a repeat of season 4 where they're like, "Hey, why don't you be smart?"
Yeah, make her stand now. You gotta make a choice now.
Yeah, and it was almost like deja vu again, and I liked it this time around, and it was just that saved the premiere to me. And then, of course, saying goodbye to Carl the way we did. I really think the Morgan, Carol, Ezekiel, finally killing one of the Savior's generals. I think that moment was needed for the show. That was a must need. You're killing all these low-ranked soldiers, but you haven't defeated, you haven't cut the head off the snake in certain sections, and you finally got there. So,
it wasn't even that. It was that little kid.
Yeah,
that's a little. That was gonna get annoying too. I don't know. Where it's like, oh, I want to fight. Shut up, 9-year-old. Assign an adult. Like, hey, you're in charge of him. Hold him by his hand and drag his ass someplace else. You can't.
Yeah, and it's perfect because it was a great metaphor to Carl Grimes when he was talking about how he killed that kid and he was slipping off the deep end. Mm-hmm. I think that was perfect. I think that was artistically It was artistically perfect.
Because they're probably about the same age.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what. And Greg Nicotero wrote this episode, so he likes to do stuff like that. If you look at a lot of the Greg Nicotero episodes, the one where he's with Tyrese. Where Tyrese dies, he wrote that episode as well. Greg Nicotero loves to be artistic. He loves to, use a lot of metaphors. He likes to do a lot of callbacks. And I think that this was a perfectly written episode in comparison to where Carl and that kid were. What else can you say about that? It was just, and then you got to see also the switch between Carol and Morgan. Carol is starting to become Morgan-like, and Morgan is starting to become Carol, where he's again slipping, and they keep playing off of each other.
Yeah.
So, very good on that part.
Crazy. And then I guess jumping into the next episode once we say goodbye to Carl.
And you know what? I actually like this episode. This was one of my favorite episodes since Ezekiel lost all of his kingdom soldiers. The Lost and the Plunderers, and that's what is shown on Alexandria's wall before you enter Alexandria. It says, have mercy to the Plunderers and whatnot. So, that's where that title came from. But it brought in two of Jay's favorite groups, the Oceanside and the Trash Heapsters.
The most pointless groups. Like, as soon as Rick was like, we need to talk to Jadis, I was like, you son of a bitch. You shut your mouth. Really?
You knew it was coming.
Really? Your son just died and you're just like, I gotta talk to these trash people again. Shut up. I was so angry.
I think they made this episode especially for you, Jay, because it had both. And not only did it have both the groups, it had stupidity in the episode as well. Yes. Absolute stupid decisions I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen such stupidity in episodes. When it comes to the Oceanside and Trash Heapsters, it's almost like you have to be stupid to be part of these episodes. You have to make the dumbest, most irrational decisions you can ever make in these episodes. So, I did like the episode. But I know it was a special episode for Jay because he hates these groups. I liked it because they got rid of the Trash Heapsters, and I think they're setting up for, even though they're not confirming it, I think they're trying to transition Jadis into possibly becoming Alpha. It looks like that, but then again, who knows what they're doing. Mm-hmm. I like that they killed them off the way they did. Finally die. Simon is showing that he does not trust Negan's words. He's kind of going against the words. So now you're setting up an inter-squad conflict between him and Negan, which is good. That'll further push the audience to like Negan as a good guy, and to show that Negan is not only bad but he's good. Mm-hmm. Then you have Oceanside, a bunch of idiots there. They decide not to kill Enid and Aaron, and they send them back home. But Aaron sneaking back to Oceanside, it's just like, wow, seriously, Tara and Heath couldn't even make it over a bridge. Enid and Aaron are like going in and out of Oceanside as they please. They're not encountering any walkers. They're not near death. Nobody's disappearing. No. Enid's able to find a car that they park somewhere and drive back to it's so crazy. It makes you crazy.
It's like a day trip out there. It's like they're on vacation or something.
Yeah, Tara and Heath almost died. Tara washed up on shore because they got attacked by walkers, but Enid and Aaron must have found a shortcut there, and they just drove up. You're not supposed to find this place.
The lead up to this, like from the previous mid-season, it was just so. So they drove up in there in their trucks, and then they're kind of camping out, and they see somebody, so they're like, "Hey, let's sneak up on them."
Exactly.
And then they attack them, and then they're just like, "All right, let's just shoot the matriarch of the group."
Yeah,
that's gonna go well. It's like.
And then not only did they shoot her, but then Enid comes up with this conclusion that she purposely wanted to get herself killed.
Yeah, I don't know where that got from. Yeah, it's like what?
Like, wow, they need to stop. They need to stop with this episode before Jay blows a gasket over there. I was worried about.
Yeah, I was like,
let's call them up.
that whole thing was so dumb with the ocean side over there, and only so that Aaron could be like, "I'm gonna sneak in there." It's like just have him sneak in there from the beginning, then whatever.
Exactly.
You didn't need this conflict between anything, and the heapsters.
They're gone.
Yeah. So who set that trap? Like, so you know what I mean? For Rick and Michonne, did the Negan's group or Simon's group, or did Jay set that?
So what they want to do is if you enter without their permission, if you try to sneak in, you'll be quickly surrounded. As you noticed in the beginning of the episode, in other episodes as well, you are escorted into the trash heapster. I mean, Rick was escorted. You've seen Simon escorted into that group. You never can just go into the junkyard. You have to come through the door. You have to be escorted at some point. Rick and Michonne actually found a way in, and they didn't realize, hey, you can find a way in, but it's not going to be easy getting out. So that's why they set the traps up the way they did.
So it was a different entrance way than
it was.
That was like, okay.
Yeah, because they always escort the guests.
Yeah.
But if you're not a guest, you're an intruder. It's not going to be good for you. There was a hint at something they asked. Simon asked Jadis about the helicopter pad.
Yeah.
And remember, Rick saw the helicopter.
Mm-hmm.
Could the trash heapers have a helicopter? We have no idea. And if they do have a helicopter, Jay is going to explode. That's just going to put him over the edge.
That's it.
That's it. He's not going to be able to handle it. I'm going to have to run the show by myself because he's not going to. It's going to be the end of everything. It's just. I'm glad that they're gone. I like the way Simon backstabbed Negan or went against his word. It gave it closure that they needed. And I think that the way they ended it was definitely, specific to, almost like, she wore the white dress. It was almost like almost like that part of her life was done. And the white dress meant that she was going back or she was starting over again. And that
was strange, where it's like
being
chased and then she's just sitting there. And it was just like, wait, how did she get there? And then, like, she's just taking her time now, And then even before that, after the attack by Simon's group, she's just like, you know what, I'm just going to change and hang out up here for a little bit.
Yeah. I think they wanted to make it like, okay, this part of her life is over with. This whole charade of being these fucking, end of the world, Mad Max, apocalyptic group that dwells in the trash. I think that again, we talked about it in past episodes for now 2 years, that people have to shed their old lives and become something different to survive. And I think that you're starting to see that Jadis was an artistic woman, and that she was more pure before the world changed, and then she had to make that conversion over to being a mutant, apocalyptic person, I guess.
They were just like, so there's another one too, like, just like the theme, like, where she's like trying to, like, Rick, please take me with you, I won't survive, to her being like, all right, I'll calm and sitting down waiting for the walkers, and then once she mushes them all up, next to it is like her little cat portrait that Simon saw that was at the front. So she grabbed that, brought it over to the chomper, placed it there, and you know what I mean? It was just like, how did that happen? Those gaps there, just like, what?
Yeah, they purposely put those into the show because they knew it was going to make you blow a gasket.
Right?
I truly think that they looked and they said, "There's one guy in the world who watches The Walking Dead that absolutely hates these two groups, absolutely hates the storylines with them. We're gonna mash all this shit together
Right.
just to piss them off." And I think they did a good job because I every time I saw something with one of these groups, I said I gotta text him. I gotta make sure he's all right. I sent a care package. I gotta make sure. I gotta really check on my friend because I have no idea we're gonna do a show Monday.
Both of them in the same episode. It's like, oh boy, that's horrible. Anyway, at least the heapsters are gone. But I have to say that I love the actors.
Yes.
They're just playing a role. Pollyanna McIntyre, I believe that was her name.
Yeah, you're right.
She's awesome. She's a great person. I love her and all of her. And she plays that role good. That's the thing.
Yeah.
But I just, for this time in the story and how they presented them, I just didn't feel like they were needed at all. And same thing with Oceanside. Once again, the new female lead there, I forgot her name, but she was awesome at the convention. And, they're just great people, but I just don't know why they gave these two outside groups time on the screen. There's so many other people we can put in there.
I agree. I think that those two shows, I think those two groups were forced. Again, they're trying to extend the storyline. I think that they made the big mistake of doing that in season 7, and this is their way of closing it out. Obviously, we know we haven't seen the last of Jadis. My prediction is she's going to become alpha in her own way, or my secondary prediction is she's going to get Simon back, and obviously she's going to do something heroic, and she'll be the reason why Simon dies. And then Oceanside is obvious. Something's going to happen to Oceanside where Aaron's going to have to talk them into doing something, to coming back, or showing them showing them what the saviors are doing, and Oceanside is going to join the fight in the last minute to help out. It's so predictable at that moment with the Oceanside. It's almost amusing, almost comical. But I did like the episode because they broke it down. They showed Michonne her point of view. They showed Negan's point of view. They showed the conflict between Negan and Simon. They showed the conversation between Rick and Negan at the end, and it was almost like, who is the hothead in this moment? Like, this is the chance for Rick and Negan to actually have a conversation. And it takes you back to season 3 with the governor and Rick having a conversation. Mm-hmm. Rick just keeps his cool and talks to Negan and actually has a conversation with him. Honestly, the war may have been over if Rick would have said to Negan, "Hey, look, man, I lost my son. This is craziness, what we're doing, what we're fighting. The enemy are the walkers. We're not going to survive this. We're going to kill each other off, and who's going to win at the end? The walkers. We put our resources together, allow trade, blah, 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 blah." This is the second time that another general, came to Rick and said, we got to do something to resolve this, and he just blew it. And, Negan was calm, cool, and collected, and was kept telling Rick, "Hey, look, man, my job is to save you all. Even though I'm ruling with an iron fist, you have to understand there's a bigger picture here. We're the governing society. You guys can still live. It's almost like paying taxes. What did you do in the life before? Did you just say screw society and just say I'm going to rebel against the system? No, you'd be in jail. We are the new system. We have the manpower to do it. You have to let us govern. You have to let us do this. We'll take care of the walkers. You won't lose your son. You wouldn't have lost your son if you just understood the purpose. Yeah, I killed your friend, but I had to do it. You killed about 50 of my fucking people. Yeah, you killed them all. In the real world, you killed 50 people. You're gonna go into the gas chamber or get a needle in your arm or electric.
Yeah, you're done. Yeah. Regardless of how bad they might have been.
Exactly. I mean, he's looking at it as we are the new government. Literally, we have to do this to protect. And Rick can't see that. And Negan was trying to present it to him in that way. You have to understand, you guys, you forced my hand. Mm-hmm. And instead of Rick just sitting back and saying, "Hey, look, man, if you guys want to take that," and even Negan said it, you're a poor leader. You're a poor leader. And if Rick sat back and said, "If you guys want to lead and do this stuff, man, let's not kill each other," fine. You know what we'll do? We'll have some sort of system where we trade or whatever. We'll govern our people or whatever. You guys be the entity. We need your help in this situation. We'll take it. But we have to make it a mutual agreement. Rick cannot do that. He just lost his shit. So it's like, you're starting to kind of like grow more fond of Negan because you're starting to see that he makes sense and that the things that he does are calculated. And the cause of the things that he does is Rick Grimes. Like, you can't kill 50, 60 of my men.
Yeah.
You can't. And if you look at it in that type of structure, that, you have the government, think about society as it is now. If I went around or Jay went around and killed all these people, you're going to jail. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The cops are coming to get you, and you're going to jail. You're going to get punished. That's what Negan is trying to present to Rick. You can't. There's law and order. And without law and order, we're just as good as the biters. We're just as good as the walkers. But if you follow some sort of structure, we can rebuild the world. Somebody has to be the structure, though, and Rick won't accept that. And I think that what the show is trying to make you look at, and if they're tricking you, is they're trying to make you say Negan is this villain. Everything he does is bad, and Rick, everything he does is good. But they're also pulling the wool over your eyes, and now they're saying, look, this is what's going on. And if you're able to see that, it'll make you more interested in the show, because then you start to question the hero, and that's what I love most about the show, is that you actually have to think outside the box.
You go back to the season finale of season 5, where Rick comes to the meeting there and says, "I was wondering how many of you I had to kill to save you."
It's what Negan said. Perfect.
Negan's saying right now, it's like,
exactly.
I'll kill 2 of you if it means I can save the rest of you. That's fine.
Jay's hitting it right on the head. That's perfect.
And back then, I'm sure everybody was like, Rick is right. They're weak. He could probably kill a couple of them just to save the rest of them. He'd be justified for that. Negan, though, oh, no, Negan can't do that. He's a bad guy. It's like, well, no. You can't like one and not the other. So.
Yeah, and it's you know what? That's perfect. Perfect way to, that's a perfect tie. And literally Negan has said exactly what Jay just said, Rick said. I have to kill one of you to save the rest of you. And that's exactly what Rick said. And now it's starting to come full circle. Mm-hmm. What's going to happen at the end of this season? Is it going to be like the comics? It's going to be different, but as we said at the beginning, it wasn't going to be just this domination of Alexandria Hilltop in the kingdom against the Saviors. You knew the Saviors were going to hit back. You knew there was going to be losses. Now you're kind of like even. In the final, 6 episodes, it's going to be the culmination. It's going to be the conclusion of this thing. Mm-hmm. And what's going to happen at the end of the year? What's going to happen on Fear the Walking Dead? They're setting us up for something big, or are they setting us up for more stupid stuff? I'm going to, I gotta stick with the show and hope that it's all for a reason. And you're starting to see some of the old characters coming out. Father Gabriel. You're going to see the trek of Daryl, Rosita, Tara, and all the rest of the Alexandrians all the way to the hilltop. We're going to see how they go through a swamp filled with walkers. That should be cool. We're going to see Maggie and her response. She's basically said,
we got to talk about that.
Oh, yeah, that's another thing.
She doesn't have a contract yet for season 9.
She doesn't have a contract. Are they going to kill off? Lauren Cohen has a contact in a pilot show for NBC. She signed it. Pilot show means it's just the pilot. It's the start of a new show. It could be for one episode. It could be for 4 or 5. She would be able to film 1 or 2 episodes of The Walking Dead, even though she did accept this new gig. Would the 1 or 2 episodes be, her death episodes? Could it be that she's going to leave and then come back later? Maybe later on down the road, maybe she, takes off and then comes back. Any way you cut it, this is a serious blow to the show if they lose Lauren Cohen. You lost Chandler Riggs, Lauren Cohen, you lost Sasha. You're losing these big characters, and you got to pay these people, and you got to treat them right.
Yeah, when the show's making millions upon millions, even now with the lower ratings, you got to pay their dues. This is no reason why the people should be making a lot of money.
And she's so humble. She said, "Hey, look, I'm not Rick Grimes. I'm not Daryl. I'm not Norman Reedus. I'm not Andrew Lincoln. Those are the two main money makers in this show. But I am a prominent character in the comic books. I've been on this show since season 2. My role is increasing. I think that I should be compensated for what my character is. And they're dicking around with her, and you know what she said? Oh, I'm just going to explore other options. They're still dicking around with her, and now they're going to get rid of Maggie Green. This is crazy.
Yeah, they can't. I mean, that would just be bullshit. That's it. That's the end of the show. I mean, you can't get rid of Carl and Maggie.
And then Maggie Green.
And then what is it? It's not like if they want to play fucking games, start off another Fear the Walking Dead. Then if he wants to have his own show, then have your own Walking Dead show. But don't play games with the namesake of the comics.
Thank you.
Do your own story then with a kid and a father and mess that up if you want. But
right.
There's a reason why the comic book fans are buying those in droves and are tuning into the show.
Correct.
And you're gonna turn all them away because they're like, well, this isn't what I expected.
It's almost like you take this masterpiece and then you put it down on top of your toilet and you pull down your pants and you start shitting on the masterpiece. And then you invite a whole bunch of little kids to come and jump on the pile of shit and step on it and smear the shit all on the rest of your bathroom. It's like it's snowballing now.
Yeah.
Tell the kids to get the hell out of the bathroom, take their shoes off, get some Lysol wipes and all sorts of stuff. Start cleaning the shit up. Before you know it, if you keep the shit's gonna go through the house. It's gonna cause infections. You gotta do something. You can't.
And we can see it coming. It's just like, is no one gonna put the brakes on this goddamn show yet? I mean, goddamn.
It's a train wreck. And it's to the point that if Fear the Walking Dead has another strong season, and now you take a strong fan favorite character from The Walking Dead and you throw in the Fear, it's almost like saying you want Fear to surpass The Walking Dead, and it's like, why? Why would you do that? Like, why would you take something so great and say, we don't want it to be great anymore because we want Fear to be better? It doesn't make sense.
I don't get it. I think it was quoted. Skimpo was quoted saying that there'd be other The Walking Dead China and stuff like that, and it's just like, then bring creativity to those shows.
Yes.
All right? It's just don't fuck around with what we know. It's like having, I don't know, Harry Potter and then friggin' Hermione just dying in the second book or the second movie. Yeah. It'd be like, what do you mean? What the hell just happened? Shocking the audience. No, stick to the goddamn books. Exactly. Everyone loved those movies still. They knew what was happening. It's fine.
And for the TW Brown fans, I'm going to throw this out there. That would be like taking, you have to read the books, so if you don't read the books, you're not going to be with me. But there's several of you that are reading the books, and several of you have told me what book number you're on. So that's like taking Kevin or Steve or Juan Hoya and making a movie out of it, and instead of Kevin getting to the point where they get out of Pittsburgh, you kill him right in Pittsburgh and you don't have a Kevin anymore. So it's like you can't just take something and say it's based on a comic book and then completely turn it into something else. It's just craziness. It's going to turn off your original viewers and your original fans, and you really don't want to do that because that's the ground. That's the catalyst to where your success is.
I got one. It's just kind of like taking like an awesome book about zombies and then not having it be about zombies, like World Z.
Bring that stupid shit. Exactly.
Come on, man. Just don't change it. But one thing I did want to talk about, going back to episode 9, was the dream sequence. It turns out to be Carl's dream sequence.
Yes.
So this is going back to the first episode 2 then of season 8, and how confusing, because you had the current time frame, you had a dream sequence which ended up being Carl's, and then you had a future scene of Rick Grimes, and I don't know, and it just didn't. I didn't know what the hell was going on with those. And they, the dream sequence now, they say the light around the edges and everything made it look like a dream, but made it look like it was Rick's dream because he was the one waking up in bed.
Yes,
And
it's so stupid. The only thing that I could think of, I'll let you go ahead. I'll finish it.
and then like we'll go back to the limp thing, and no one pictures someone in the future having a limp,
Perfect.
you know, or oh, this is Michonne and there's her arm missing. Ah, I love you, Michonne. You don't think that. You don't think the worst for people. My God, you're gonna think like, oh, they'll be healthy, they'll be strong. Everything's gonna be great. Maybe a longer beard, sure, okay. But you don't just give someone a disability.
It's so crazy. And I talked to another one of our viewers, and they asked the same thing. They said, "How come Carl's dream saw Rick all haggard and injured, and then Negan looked like he was perfectly healthy? So you think your father is going to be a cripple, and the enemy of your father is going to be perfectly in shape? Like, what are you trying to say?" So
Yeah, right.
what I did was I did a little bit of creative thinking. And I think that the dream was Carl's initially, and I think it turned out to be Rick's. They're probably not going to do this, but it would make more sense if it started off as Carl's dream, and then at the end saw Rick have the same dream that Carl had after Rick was injured, and it would finish it off. But as you said, it doesn't make any sense why Carl would see Rick limping around. So basically, they screwed it up. Because they could have just had Rick as an old man, not gimping around, just walking like a normal human being. So I think they screwed that up, unless they're going to transition it from being Carl's dream to Rick's fulfillment of Carl's dream. So there could be a little bit of trickery there. I'm going to hold out hope that there is trickery, but in reality, it probably is just they screwed that up.
Yeah,
and it's just trying to piss off the comic book fans again. So.
Right?
Who the hell knows?
Like who has a dream where you yourself is just like walking by? It's like, okay, yeah. I guess there I go. No, like you're always the point of view in your dream. I know, like it might be like a dream, quote unquote, like your sleeping dream or a fantasy down the road. But I mean, it'll be from your point of view at least.
Yeah, not your dad's point of view. Like, I wake up as my father and look at myself. That doesn't make sense. And not only do I wake up as my father, but my father is crippled, and his enemy is perfectly healthy and saying, "How you doing, sweetheart?" to my sister. Right. So my father is not going to be pissed at that at all. He's not going to be mad. So
I can't do anything about it anyways. He's got a bum leg now.
Yeah, exactly. But a couple of things that happened in that episode. At the end of the episode, show Rick Grimes. He was bleeding from his side. A lot of people thought his leg was broken. I think it was just the position of his leg.
Yeah.
I think Rick is bleeding. It's not the end of the season. I think that there's a big comic book moment coming up, because if you look at the trailer, Negan is bashing in Walker's skulls. That's very reminiscent of what happened in the comic books. Comic book readers will know that moment came. There's a reason why Negan is bashing in the Walker's heads in front of his people. I think that reason and Rick being bloodied on the side are related. I don't think that's going to be the season finale. I think that it was very, very reminiscent of what happens in the comic book. So if you read the comic, if you didn't read it, don't be fooled. Just keep watching, because I think it's gonna pick up again. And then I think that if that's the case, if Negan is doing what he does in the comic book, we're going to have a couple of more probably secondary deaths coming up in the group. We don't know who, but there definitely will be some secondary deaths because of what Negan is doing. So it's going to get bloodier. It's going to get a little bit, more, hitting below the belt a little bit here. But it's war, and you got to expect casualties, and it's just going to keep coming.
Yeah, even it's random bites on the side casualties.
That's just so stupid. But hey, anyways, Dead or Alive is the next episode. Supposed to be a good one. Got a couple announcements. Gonna try to get TW Brown on for TW Brown Part 3. We had a suggestion, suggestion from a couple of fans of our show that I do a top 5 TW Brown books. One of my 5 favorite TW Brown books. I told TW Brown, hey, look, a lot of people are asking about your work, blah, blah, blah. I'm spreading the words. He will join us while I give my top 5 list of his writing. He's going to join us again. We'll set that all up. Plus, he's given us 5 free Audible 5 free Audible codes where you can download his books on Audible. We'll be giving those away. The first one is we're gonna give it to my friend Tim. He's a really good friend of mine, and he's a big time fan of the show. He's asking where it is on Facebook. He's asking when the next show is.
Yeah, he's
so,
great.
I know he's gonna watch this. So you get the first code. Like, subscribe our videos. Make sure you tune in to the TW Brown Show. We have 5, so we have 4 left now. We're gonna pick 4 more people, give away basically a free TW Brown Audible book. And then we'll go from there. But that was just a quick announcement. Did a lot of talking. I'm gonna let Jay finish it off because I'm getting tired.
Yeah, and if you guys are interested in winning those, comment down below in our YouTube videos, and we'll see about getting those codes out there for you.
Yep.
And I'm on kind of the negative side over here, but sometimes I pay attention to the trees versus the forest. That is The Walking Dead. I just have a little sour taste in my mouth. But hey, guys, stay optimistic. You gotta hope for the best. Hoping the show turns it around, and definitely looking forward to Fear the Walking Dead too, though, and see where they go from there. I love the cast now, and with Lenny James coming over there too. I believe that's April 15th, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. Correct.
So I'm actually excited for that again. So hey, maybe Fear the Walking Dead is the best thing to come out of The Walking Dead here at the end.
Hey man, but I got a quick question for you, Jay. Do you think that a lot of your displeasures of the show, and this all seriousness, I always bust on Jay a little bit here about him, having dinner parties with the cast. But do you think that a lot of your displeasures is because you actually had a chance to relate to the cast and see them as people and get to know them a little bit? Because a lot of our viewers may look at it and say, man, why is he quipping on the show? I know I'm quipping on it because I love The Walking Dead. I don't want them to ruin it. But do you think for you, not only loving The Walking Dead universe, but do you think it's also due to you meeting these people and having that kind of those interactions with them?
I think a lot of times people see these as actors on screens, and they lose that reality that they are just humans, and after meeting some of them, and getting to know them, they're great people. They're for the most part all nice people. They could be jerks, but they're just doing their job, and I'd hate to see anyone lose a job, or just because I'm dogging the show or dogging the writing or something like that. Even the writers, even Gimple, we may be throwing shade on him, but at the same time, I don't understand fully what he does, or why he makes those decisions. Could be coming from corporate up above. I don't know. But he's in the lead position, so he kind of gets the brunt of the negativity of it. We appreciate it still. Like I said, we appreciate that Gimple is doing the show. It could be worse with somebody else for all we know. Yeah. I do have a lot of problems with that, but I think it does stem from knowing, and Chandler, we didn't spend a lot of time with him. He's, an HGO kid we don't really have much to relate to. Yeah. He was kind of in a hurry that day because everyone wanted to see him. Mm-hmm. But just having that appreciation for a young adult, 18 years old, getting ready to go to college, and kind of revolving his life around the show, and then having the show kind of backstab him like that. That hurts.
Yeah.
But it's just, I don't know. I feel like season 6, I feel like was the peak, and that's where I set the bar, and I maybe I'm just viewing it differently now. I think it doesn't capture my full attention now, where I can not be engrossed with the story, but now I'm looking for those little things. Like I said, the trees for the forest. Now I'm not blinded, blinders on my sides. I'm like, wait, why is that happening? Why is this? Why are the heapsters back? Stuff like that, where I'm just not fully 100% there, I guess, while watching it.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I mean, that was a question I had for Jay. A question that came to me. I know, this is a longer show because we did 2 episodes, but why do you think? Question we could present that. I'll present this to Jay as well. But why do we think that Gimple was promoted when the writing has been, not up to par? And the best answer I can come up with, and I haven't heard this anywhere, was sometimes you have a perception of things where you can be at a different level. Maybe your skill set is better of use in an executive role. Maybe you have a better eye of putting a writer in the spot that you were in. Maybe you don't have that skill where you could be the writer. Maybe your destination should be the executive who oversees, where you can actually get a writer or a person that's more of a fan of this genre or this show to get a different perspective of it. Maybe you no longer have that perception that the audience has. Maybe you have the ability to find a person that can relate to the audience. So I think that they have confidence in Gimple to be more of an executive than a producer and a writer. I think that they're looking at it and saying his mind works more as an executive. He is better suited to put the writers in there rather than him coming up with this stuff. That's not his strength anymore. So I think that his promotion was due to his expertise as an executive and not as a writer. So it wasn't like a promotion, just to, because he sucked at writing. It was, you did great, but that wasn't what you were supposed to do, and you did what we asked you to do when we needed you to do it. Because remember, they had a switch in showrunners before, twice. And he came in and he actually took the ball from those people, and he hit the ground running. He did a great job, but it started to get stale. And before it got too stale, I think that they said, okay, let's take you out of this role that you were thrusted into, and let's put you in a bigger role where you can use your creativity in a different way, and you can put actual writers that have more relationship to the actual story and the fans than you per se did. So I think that it was a very smart decision, and it was twofold, because a lot of people say, why would you promote a guy that seems like an idiot right now? It's the way he was thrust into that writing the shows. He was better off, just like Greg Nicotero, writing a couple of episodes. But to put him in charge of that, covering for Mazar, covering for, Durabant, to put him there, I think that he wasn't the best fit. I think he took what they started and he extended it. But I think his creativity wasn't the same as somebody who really would write for the show or really was entranced in the Walking Dead universe. I think that he was just a fill-in. And I think that he did what they asked him to do, but it got sour, but they also appreciated his mind, and that's why they put him as an executive. So, maybe that's for the best. I think sometimes that happens. I think you can find skills in people when they do something else and understand that they're useful in different ways, especially if they're covering for you in a certain, what I'm saying? I hope that I tried to explain that the best I could, but I think that that's what Gimple did. And when you look at it in that view, I think that you can actually see the whole forest instead of just a tree. But Jay is right. When you have season 6 and you use that as your standard, you start to look at each tree. You start to look at them and you start to question it. And decisions like killing off Carl Grimes makes you not only look at the tree, but you're starting to look at the dirt underneath the tree, and you're looking at the entrance into the forest. Like, you're starting to look at much more.
Yeah, so and the season 6 finale too, which where they came out, we're gonna do it anyway, regardless of the fans. And it's just like that's
that's a shitty move, man.
Yeah,
but yeah. Hope I answered that to the best I could. I mean, that's something that I think that I took some time to really research it, and it's just you gotta. Yeah, the guy, his writing's getting shittier, or it started to get questionable or whatever. But you got to look at where he took over from, and you got to look at a lot of his work. And I think that putting him into a full-time writer's, it was just. Hey, it was a Band-Aid job. We lost a showrunner in the middle of the season, and the guy did so good covering, that they kept him in it, but I think that they stuck with him too long. It's almost like, you gotta
change the guard. Yeah,
gotta switch it up. You gotta use him where he's supposed to be used, and I think that was a smart idea.
They made the change after they brought up the Heapsters.
Yeah. That that's actually metaphoric. That might be that's actually metaphoric. Maybe they got rid of the Heapsters because they knew that you absolutely hate it. I think that they really got on the phone with each other and just said, we have to make it right by Jay. He makes all
Jay dissects over here, and this one guy really hates the Heapsters.
Jay and Kelsey make us these great dinners. They invite us over all the time. We get drunk. They let us sleep on the couch and all this other bullshit. We got to make it right by them. They got cats. And I think that that's why they killed off the Heapsters the way they did. They know you guys.
Well, much respect then, Walking Dead. I appreciate it. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We should be back next week. You got anything going on?
I'm good, man. I'm good to go. We only missed the show last week because Jay took a vacation.
I was still in Cancun.
Yeah. And so we combined the 2 episodes, but we'll be back next week. We are going to put our heads together and try to get TW Brown on sooner than later, so I could do a top 5. So we'll actually do that, soon, because we want him back on the show. Do top 5 TW Brown books. Every week we'll give out one of these promo codes. So stay tuned, and hope to see you next week.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. If you guys can, like, subscribe, follow us on all the social medias, particularly YouTube if you guys are watching this right now. If you like the video, if you guys don't like it, you guys dislike it if you like, but just let us know how we can fix it. Give us some constructive criticism. We'd be happy to hear it and make any changes that would improve the show. If you guys can donate, please donate. Otherwise, just keep tuning in, keep being awesome fans. We love hearing from you guys. Comment. Let us know what's going on. And once again, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next week.
See you next week.